Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody's having a good day. Today we're talking about the shifting housing market. And there's been a lot of talk about floating around in the interwebs about what's happening in the housing market and how it's shifting. You see it pop up everywhere. And the question is how much is it shifting and is it really going to make a difference? But today I wanted to kind of focus in on inventory, because I think that inventory is going to be the thing that everyone is going to, focus in on. It's going to be the tipping point because you can't buy what you don't have. And a lot of people are not selling because there isn't anything to buy. However, that being said, several months ago, I remember we were talking about the inventory levels, and, Austin in Texas was on the verge of being at pre-pandemic. Florida was on the verge of being at pre-pandemic inventory levels. And there are 7 states now at that point. And there's a handful right behind it. So I've got an article that I'm going to dig into. I also want to dig into some stats, because I don't want you guys to just take my word for it. I want to show you the money, so to speak, and show you exactly where the data is coming from. But as I was on a live stream last night and kind of teased that this person was going to be on my live stream tonight, just because, it's just following me everywhere. I just can't get rid of her. So, she might as well. Kidding. My best bud, Baker. Make it Jackie Baker.
Hey, what's up?
Hold on. I missed the intro, the dramatic intro music.
How could you do that to me? Really?
Because it's only because, I got like nothing else on my mind. So
what's up, my friend?
Hey, what's happening?
What's going on?
Oh, man. Oh, what's not going on?
Well, this is true.
It's an interesting world that we live in right now, right? Just everything that's happening and
Yep.
Whether it be in our professional lives or in the world of politics, or in the economic world, or just like how about surviving the day today.
That is so true.
Day in the economy. I always say I focus, if you're freaking out or worried about all of the above, you know what? Take a step back and look at your personal economy. That's what I say. The economy of your household. And that's kind of gets everything down.
Good advice.
We're going to dig into some shifting stuff. And we talked a little bit about some overall market shifting over on your channel last night. We're going to get into some inventory stuff. We've got Bubblelandia. Hey, good to see you.
For the data.
For being here. And we're going to dig in some data, because Jackie, I like the data.
I know you do.
The data don't lie.
No, it does not. Numbers don't lie.
Yep.
We'll talk about it.
Absolutely. Because, everybody can twist, numbers and make it look like, to their advantage. But
oh, yeah.
Data's data. So I'm going to let's just dive right in.
All right.
So here's the article I got. Came up Fast Company, a reputable news source, was posted last week. Where the regional housing market is shifting and where it isn't. I like this article because of, what's that 4-letter word that we just talked about? Data.
Data. Yes.
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 So,
lots of it.
Yeah, it does have some great data. So it says, so the article says, when assessing home price momentum, and there's some good stuff in here that is worthwhile talking about. Let's get there. Here we go. When assessing home price momentum, it's important to monitor active listings and months supply of inventory. Jackie, I know that in the real estate land, we talk a lot about that in terms of a measure, on how healthy a market is, right?
Right.
And it says if active listings start to rapidly increase as homes remain on the market for longer periods, it may indicate potential future price pricing weakness. Conversely, a rapid decline in active listings could suggest a market that is heating up. Now, I'll just take a quick second to say that month supply of inventory, just for those watching, what that number, if you say, if someone tells you, oh, it's this area has a 1 month supply or 2 month supply, um, what they're referring to is if absolutely no more listings came on the market ever, there was the spigot was turned off and absolutely no additional inventory was added to that market, how long, based on the average number of homes that are selling at that point, how long would it take to sell everything on the market?
Right.
Um, and anywhere between 4 and 6 is healthy. Um, Conversely, during the pandemic, we were looking at a half a month supply, which is
Mhm.
anemic. So, just having that in the back of your mind, it may sometimes seem like there's more inventory coming. There's a lot of for sale signs in your neighborhood, but if the month supply of inventory, according to your local agent, is 2 months, the data doesn't lie. Then that's not
Mhm.
really a balanced market. It's not quite there yet.
Right.
Um, because there you go. The more you know.
The more you know.
The
Thank you, Jen.
you get it. Generally speaking, local housing markets where active inventory has returned to pre-pandemic levels have experienced softer home price growth or outright price declines over the last 24 months. Jackie, you and I have talked a lot about that on our
Mhm.
homes. Conversely, local housing markets where active inventory remains far below pre-pandemic levels have generally experienced stronger home price growth over the last 24 months. That would be like your market, New Jersey,
Right.
and up
Yep.
where I'm at, Massachusetts. National active listings are on the rise. They were up 34% between September last year and this year. However, we're still well below, obviously, well below pre-pandemic levels, down 23% compared to September 2019. This graph is interesting, and I'll be honest. Full disclosure, it took me a little bit to kind of register what the heck I was looking at, but then when I
Mhm.
once I did this, so this is a great graph because it kind of shows the total months. So on the left here is the total number of houses on the market, right? So in the 2019, and you can kind of see the curve, right? That kind of represents when homes come on the market, come on and go off the market.
Yep.
And and kind of the influx of inventory that happens during the spring market, it kind of crests during summer, and then it kind of declines during the fall, which is totally normal. But you can
Right.
see, in 2018, 2017, this is what we're comparing to in terms of a national level, and you can see that dropping. And even 2020, right? It wasn't
Uh-huh.
terrible, it wasn't terrible. But then
No.
you can look at that drop. I mean, that's the most dramatic drop. The thing
Yeah.
that we want to focus in on is what's happening 2024. And this is why the inventory is increasing. This is why a lot of the crash bros will tell you that the market's going to crash, because that's a pretty sizable incline.
Right.
However, Jackie, compare that to this incline in 2018 when there was not a crash. That's
Yep.
not Look at the parallels.
I know.
The
That's
housing
interesting.
Yeah, the inventory is coming on the market, but it's not coming on the market at a pace that's alarming. We're starting
Right.
low, so
Yep.
it seems like, it's like, 10% off of, $100 item versus 10% off of $1,000 item.
Right.
It's gonna be a lot more money saved on a $1,000 item, right? Well,
Mhm.
this is that you're feeling the same type of thing, right? It's like, geez, maybe it seems like there's a lot, but no, there really isn't.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
uh,
That's interesting
I
to
thought
see
so.
how similar that is back,
Yeah.
compared to 2017.
Um, Bubblania says more recent than 6 months ago even. Yes. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Talking
Yep.
about the supply of
Yeah,
inventory.
they've gotta get the most updated data.
You
Hello,
got
David Matney.
Hey, David, always, always, always good to see you, our friend in
Yes.
Nebraska,
Oh, yes.
Omaha.
Um, yeah, so,
Um,
Jen, this is interesting. I mean, looking at that graph in 2017, I kind of remember that. There was a lull for a while, and then all of a sudden and it was, like, right around this time of year. It was, like, in the fall, September, like, especially down here, all of a sudden, it was like gangbusters. It was crazy,
and that's
you
right
know?
here, and that is exactly what
Yeah,
happened right here, because it
yeah.
definitely, like, there was that increase in, and I don't remember, to be honest, I don't remember what the heck went on last last year versus 2000. I don't remember if there was any significant events that had caused that per se, but you look at every year is a little different. Of course, you can't really pinpoint 2020 and after, because it's been
It's
look how nice, Jackie, they're like ocean waves. They're just nice, and it's nice that they
I
actually
know.
in teal, like,
Yep.
to emulate, a nice, even, like, calm ocean wave, and then it's
Yes.
just like, it's
I
chaos.
I know.
Up and
I
down,
know.
all the things, it's
I
just
I say it all the time. I would give anything to right now to go back to, like, 2018, 2017 market, you
amen,
know? Oh my
amen.
god. Yeah, it's yeah, tho much better times back then.
It'll get boring again.
Yeah,
No offense
it
to you.
will.
It
It
will.
for sure it will.
Um, this has been more importantly, like, looking at what's happening now, I wanted to highlight that, there's that number that I mentioned earlier in terms of the price increase, like what that percentage increase from last year is, like, 34%. What that actually equates to is, it's almost 250,000 homes more
Mhm.
on the market, which
Yeah.
is not too bad. I mean, it's not
That's
what
a big jump though,
it
compared
it is,
year over
and
year.
that's
Yeah.
lots of changes. So, um, this graph represents, let's see if I can get this all in frame. Here we go. The change, now this is super interesting, super important, because it depends on where you live, right? The one
Mhm.
year change in active housing inventory, because you may be looking at this graph and say, well, gosh, or you be listening to this data and say, well, great, those houses aren't in my market, or those
Mhm.
houses are all in my market, and it might
Yep.
feel that way when you're in a neighborhood and all of a sudden you see 5 for sale signs go up on your street. Um, but here's the data, right? This is the shift between last year and this year, and this is where the houses are coming on the market. So a lot of lower, United States, a lot of lower US, so we've got Arizona, kicking up 45%,
Yeah.
year over year, Texas,
And
Florida, which,
Florida.
we've talked a lot about, 59% increase. But we've
Wow.
also Georgia, which we haven't really talked a lot about. It'll be interesting to see what happens post hurricane season.
Mhm.
Jackie, after the dust settles after the hurricane season, how, if any, changes at all with any of
Yep.
these numbers. But I mean, but these states are, it's interesting that the 49%, 48%, 40%, you can kind of see. And then you've got Washington, which I'm not quite certain why.
Yeah.
That it's just by
That's
itself. He's like a little, go in the corner, go sit in the corner.
yeah,
Um,
right? It's that's odd. I mean, the southern states, I understand that, you
or
know?
even Vermont. Vermont market has slowed. I talked to an agent there just recently.
60%? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I talked to an agent there this just not too long ago, and they said that the time on the market has substantially increased. So,
Really?
it's very interesting, but you can see, though, like, the different states that are about to turn over. You've got these,
Mhm.
certain states that are still, North Dakota, South Dakota, they're still, that their inventory's actually dropped. But it's interesting to see the progression on slowly how things are changing. Uh,
Yes,
the article goes on to say, of course, Florida, biggest
I
inventory
know.
because of all the things that we've been talking about. Hurricane Ian, September 2022, which
Yep.
ran there, all the things, that has happened in the state of Florida, the HOA, the insurance,
Mhm.
all the things, that we talk about at night
Yeah.
nauseam.
But
Uh,
you know what? I'm concerned about, like, what's gonna happen now after these last 2 hurricanes. How's that market gonna, that
yeah.
because I'm sure there are people that don't wanna repair their homes, or rebuild. So what happens there, you
So
know?
I would think, I mean, if you have people that leave, right, the
Yeah,
property is still in their name. So what do they do with it? Sell it to an investor. The investor
true.
takes it,
Yeah,
they bulldoze it, they
but
build a house on it, and guess what's gonna happen? They're
mhm.
gonna sell it to somebody else.
Or
And
rent it, or rent it,
or yeah, or rent it,
or rent it out. Yep,
which
that's a lot of
which
companies get those.
I
Yeah,
don't
uh-huh.
know. But you know what though? Just, on that thought process, right? Like if you're an investor, you're a, one of these, these investors that we always, don't like we don't like the big investors that,
Mhm.
taking up neighborhoods, taking over neighborhoods, rent control, controlling prices, all the things.
Yep.
To have to own property and own rental property in the state of Florida on the West Coast, the risk factor, I wonder, is would they be even willing to hold on to that property? I would the
Yeah.
risk factor be too high for them to hold on to that property knowing that eventually hurricane season comes again?
Yep.
I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
I
don't
mean,
I don't know either, but I mean, I could see that. I mean, I could see investors trying to, buy up all those condos too that have been sitting that are just sitting there for months on end that can't sell because of uh this whole new legislation and, having the structure uh inspections on these buildings and the assessments that are being put on these homeowners. I don't yeah, they're having a hard time selling those. And
right,
that's contributing a lot to their rise in inventory. But
right.
I think that's an opportunity for investors to come in and take them over. If no one's buying them, 'em, they'll buy them pennies on the dollar and just turn around and renovate and rent it out,
Maybe
you know?
that's what needs to happen to remedy to get past this, the hurdle with the foundation issues, with the concrete issues, all the special assessments, all the different the
Yeah,
laws that now are now in effect after the Miami collapse.
yeah,
Um, get these condos in a position where they're up to code,
mhm.
and then sell them. But not every condo is that way. Every
No,
there are a lot of condos that are selling no problem, that are
yep,
selling that are not part of that, um, that foundation, special assessment, requirement,
mhm,
so,
yep.
I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how it all
Yes.
shakes out. Um, it says, however, the inventory increases in Florida now expand far beyond. They talked about it started on the West Coast, and now it's pushing into Jacksonville and Orlando, um,
Mhm.
and all the things we were just talking about. This graph, data, I love you, data.
More data.
Oh. You know what I think about when I see data?
What?
Data. Data don't lie.
Of course you do. Alright.
Active housing inventory for sale compared to pre-pandemic levels. So this graph, okay, so this is gonna get to kind of the title of the video in terms of, and the teaser and the description about, certain pockets that are where states that are at pre-pandemic and states that are on the verge, in terms of their overall levels. So here it is, Jackie. So
Yeah.
you've got the,
Wow.
Middle Florida, of course. You've got Tennessee, Texas. You've got Oklahoma just about. So Oklahoma is going to be the next is on the verge.
Wow.
Colorado, Utah, Arizona. I love how there's a little pop-ups because geography was
I know. I
my
love
strong suit,
that.
not my strong suit. 10% good old Washington, right? So, and then
Mhm.
on the verge, Alabama
Yep.
it's getting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's getting there.
Yep.
Oklahoma is getting there.
Yep.
Um, But look at this, all this
I
Northeast.
look at all the Northeast. Look
Where
at
are we
that.
at? Where we at?
Wait, hover over Jersey because there's no
I'm getting
number
there.
there.
I'm
Come
okay.
on.
Okay. Jersey's so small and insignificant. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Let's
Uh-huh.
do it. I don't know if I
I'll
can do
give
it.
you insignificant.
That sounds like Jersey. Well,
Alright,
where
I
are
don't
we?
want Rhode Island. Where's your okay, there we go. Oh,
62.52.
62.52. Holy cow.
Yep. Six
Holy
negative
cow.
62%.
It's not surprising for what I've been living with in this, in this crazy real estate, market right now, but to see that number 62,
Yep.
62.5%, oh my god.
That's a pretty deep hole to dig out of. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's a
uh-huh.
very, very, very deep
I
hole, you
think
know?
that's the highest number
You think
of
so?
all the states. Well, yeah, well, hover over the other one. Go down a alright, so
Okay, well, it's gonna be dark. Maryland's
Maryland is
52,
52. Okay.
52.
Where's
We've got Connecticut
oh,
71.
71. Never mind. Connecticut beat us.
70. Oh,
Whoa.
what's
Oh
special?
my
What's
god.
what's New York 40? What is special about Connecticut?
A lot of New York City workers, people who commute
Mm,
to the city. Southern Connecticut is very popular. Yep,
okay. All right.
yep. And, um, other parts of like Northern Connecticut, Western Connecticut, I think the homes there are a little cheaper, but,
Interesting.
that could be a draw, but Southern Connecticut for sure, that's very popular for people who commuting into the
Wow.
city. Yep. Mhm.
Interesting. Interesting, interesting.
Yeah, so Connecticut, New Jersey, I mean, we had the highest numbers. So, that's crazy. Crazy.
There you go. That's
There
why
we go. Thank
that's
you.
why you're getting Jersey Jackie.
Thank you.
It is in
I'm
August.
honored. I'm
August
honored.
2024, only 4 states have returned to or surpassed pre-pandemic 2019 levels. We just talked about this. September, um, Tennessee, Texas, Idaho, Florida, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and then Oklahoma, Alabama,
Wow.
Oregon on the way. This another data point I thought was super interesting. So this it just is another way of looking at just kind of redicing, reshuffling that inventory to say, okay, like these are the guys, this is all they're at, and these are the ones that are the bubbles that are coming almost to the surface. So
Mm.
interesting, Hawaii, with all the
I
challenges they've had.
I
It's
know.
very interesting. I was interested to see that. Nebraska, there you go. David Matney.
Yep.
It's
Look at that.
almost coming to the surface. Montana. So it's just, I'm going to include a link to this article in the descriptions if you guys want to check out
Good.
this article. The article just goes on to talk about the Sun Belt and why one factor some of the pockets on the Sun Belt Mountain West experienced even greater home growth during the pandemic, which stretched affordability too far beyond
Mhm.
local incomes, which we know once pandemic fueled migration slowed and rates spiked. It became an issue in places like Colorado Springs and Austin. And then, unlike many Sunbelt housing markets, many Northeast and Midwest markets have lower levels of home building, which we do.
Mhm. Yep.
As new supply becomes available in Southwest and Southeast markets, and builders use affordability adjustments like buy downs, which we've been seeing a lot of
A
crazy buy
a
downs.
lot. Yep.
Yeah. Um, to move it has created a cooling effect in the resale market. Northeast and Midwest don't have the same level of new supply. So, and I think it's because I think one of the reasons being that it's just we're just so densely populated, and
Mhm.
the restrictions for building are extremely high because
Oh,
of that. Uh,
totally. Yep.
and it's just from a builder's perspective, it's harder um, to make that gap that what's the word I'm looking for, Jackie? The difference between
Difference.
what they spend and what they make.
The
My
gap. Yeah, just to get yeah.
Yeah, but the word I'm thinking of, it'll come to me in
I
about
don't know.
30
I
minutes.
don't know. Maybe somebody can answer that in the
Yeah,
comments.
yeah. I'll text you. I remembered what I was gonna say. So, I just think it was, I think it was, it's interesting to see, the progression on some of these. Bubble Landia says, notice that a lot of these states with inventory returning are also states that can have very expensive homeowners insurance.
Yep.
Hmm.
There you go. There's your sign.
I
That's
wonder if that is the correlation with Washington. Forest fires? Maybe?
you know what? Possibly.
Hmm.
Possibly. They don't get the best weather out there, so yeah, it's very possible.
That's a
But
super, super great point.
I'm hoping we don't see foreclosures rising because people can't afford the homeowners insurance, you know what I
Well,
mean?
so here's the
And
thing with
the
foreclosures.
rising taxes, you know?
Here's the thing with foreclosures. Foreclosures would happen if the seller, usually anyways, if the seller owes, it can't sell it for what they owe.
Right. Right.
Everybody, unless they purchased it in the last 2 years, last year, everyone's got equity because the prices have
True.
still continued to rise.
True.
So you will have, and this happens, even if they have equity, just because they're either not sure what to do or embarrassed or they ignore the problem, they won't sell it and they'll let it go to foreclosure even though they could have
Mm,
sold it and got
mhm.
out of it and saved their credit and all the things. But
Right.
I think if a lot of people are in trouble, I don't know. I think that they'll try to they have if you're financially strapped, right? You can't make your mortgage payments, you're behind, and you have the opportunity to sell, cash out,
Mhm.
and walk away with a bucket of money and start over. Even if you're going into a rental, you've got a bucket of money that you didn't have before.
That's true.
Now it's not a foreclosure. It's just another property on the market.
Correct. Yep. But I mean, I've been doing just so much research though, and for all of my content and stuff that I make, the videos I make, it's people are strapped. They can't afford one. So here's the issue, right? So people bought the house in the past like say in the last 2 years, right? And they were quoted at the time what their mortgage payment would be. And then, okay, here's your insurance. And on top of that, here's your property taxes.
Yep.
Those are the 2 things that have risen substantially in a lot of areas like Texas that have it's causing so many problems for people now they can't afford to make those
Yes.
monthly payments.
Yep.
So, um, well, I agree with you, there's equity, but here they do have equity, but here's the thing. Who is gonna wanna move there and buy the house knowing the taxes are higher, the insurance is higher, it's more expensive to just live, right?
I think there's always a
The
but for
fact
every seat.
Yeah, there is a but for receipt, but at what cost? At what price? You know what I mean?
Well,
I
yes.
think those prices you're gonna see well, we already know Austin, like Austin, Texas especially, I mean, those prices have definitely come down. They were way overinflated thanks
Yes.
to California residents. Well, not all California, but, like, majority of California seem to have moved there. But now that's all coming down. So again, the value of the home is the values could be dropping there. You know what I'm
I
saying? Because
I
who
do.
wants
I
to pay
do.
that? Who wants to
Well, I
pay that,
think
you know?
so I think that, you know on your point of, like, who's gonna pay for it, well, absolutely every house will sell
Mhm.
at the right price.
At the right price. At the right
Everybody's
price.
gonna sell. Okay.
Yep.
If they don't get the right price, right, they continue to or I should say when they if the price gets to the point where they have to drop it so low that it doesn't cover what they owe, yes, they're gonna go into foreclosure.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the equity gap is pretty significant based on the last 3 or 4 years. For a lot
Mhm.
of people, even the last couple of years, right?
Right.
Uh, and in terms of buyers, if the argument is that buyers won't buy because they can't afford it, or maybe it needs too much work, or
Mm.
maybe it's not financeable, there there's the corporate investors. There are a ton of small investors, mom and pop shops that haven't done that in years because they haven't been able to the flip or the renovation gap, the margin, there's the word I was looking for, The margin
Margin. There you
was
go.
not big enough. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but you have these mom and pop investors that say, "Hey, listen, I'm a contractor. I can do this work on the weekends.
Mhm.
I have buddies that I'll give, they're not gonna charge me up the wazoo. We'll get it done. It won't be super expensive to do, whatever. Yes, you have to be super careful. There are a lot of some of these mom and pop investors are just the shoddy work and all the things, but
Mhm.
I just think that I think that for every piece of real estate, there is a buyer one way, shape, or form.
Yep.
So,
There is. Again, at the right price.
at the right price.
At the right
Manatee
price.
says for large states with district regions, I would want data by county. For example, Western and Eastern Washington are completely different. That, you know what? You're
Yep.
absolutely positively
That
correct.
is
That is with every single state.
Mhm.
If
Oh,
we
yeah.
took Massachusetts and, I'm on the South Coast versus Boston versus Central Mass versus Western Mass, it's a
Mhm.
tale of four cities. Like, it's totally
Yeah.
what I'm experiencing is entirely different than what's happening around the city.
Oh,
Totally
same
different.
same
So,
here.
you're
Yep.
you're absolutely correct. I think that
Same thing. Yep.
I think the whole thing with the data, it's to give you the bird's eye view to say in general, if you have, an area, a pocket that's doing super well, but it's only represents 20% of the state, the other 80% is not doing so great. So it averages out. Do you buy a house based on that data? Well, no. You never want to do that.
Mm-mm.
Decisions on that bird's eye data.
Yep.
Never, to your point, Maddie, you drill down. If you're going to make a decision like buying or selling a piece of property, absolutely, you take your state and then you drill down to the county, sometimes even the neighborhood, right, Jackie? Like, you
Absolutely.
look at Long
Yep.
Island or whatnot. I know that certain pockets, Jersey, New York, like, it's going to be different. I sent a referral over to Long Island, and
Mhm.
holy cow, that house sold for, like, it was 550. It sold for 85,000. It's not quite sold,
I believe
but it's
it.
yeah,
Yep.
it's like a couple weeks. So I mean, it didn't take long.
Yep.
Didn't take long. Holy
Mhm.
cow. But you switch to another part of the state, and it's a whole different story.
Oh,
They're
yeah, you go upstate New York, like way upstate New York,
Mhm.
you're not gonna see that. I mean, you might because it's some areas like, Rochester, up that way, the home it's very affordable, it's one of the more affordable places, but who wants to live in upstate New York? No offense. I went to
Easy
college
now,
upstate New
easy
York.
now.
It's cold. I was born and raised in New York State. I went to school upstate New York, near Canada. Freezing, freezing. You're like, yeah, you have like no life from like end of October to May. Yeah, I mean, because it's just so cold and the
Unless you're a
snow.
kid. Unless you're a kid, because I lived
Yeah.
in just outside of Oswego when I
Oh,
was
okay.
yeah, when I was young, and it
Yep.
was it was
Oh,
snow, 3 feet of snow, and it was fabulous.
oh, yeah. It was fun. Yeah,
'Cause I was a kid.
back in the day with when we had snowstorms, it was great.
100%.
Yeah.
I wanted to, we got, Bubbalina says, Oklahoma can have crazy rates. Here we go. Born in Northern New York.
Oh,
There we go.
awesome. Awesome,
Awesome.
awesome. Yep.
Awesome. Um, Jackie, I had mentioned this to you, uh, earlier that I
Mhm.
had some questions that came in, that I ran out of time last week on, but I wanted to make a point of talking about those and
Sure.
discussing those because I think that I had promised to do that, and I am deeply sorry that life happens. Sometimes that happens, but I wanted to bring those up and have some conversations.
Okay.
What do you think?
Let's do it. Bring 'em
Let's
on.
do it. All right. So the first question we have is, and this was not this past week, the week before, what not to say to an agent when selling and buying a home, came in and this viewers asked, how long after offers start coming in? I thought this was a great question, Jackie. How long do after offers start coming in do you give before viewing offers and accepting an offer. I'm afraid of setting a deadline and possibly missing out on a higher offer.
Mm.
This is a great question
It's a really good question.
because how often do we come across this question and it's not a one size fits all answer,
Mm-mm.
which is why
Nope.
I didn't answer it in the comments. I wanted to bring it up and have a conversation about it.
Yep.
I know with typically on a typical circumstance, right?
Yep.
Uh, you have to read the room, so to speak. And what I mean by that is know what's going on in your market to be able to say that it's typical to get 5 offers in a week or a couple days or whatnot, or it's typical to get it may take 2 weeks before you get multiple offers. If that will kinda guide you, if you're in a market where, it's customary that you're gonna receive all of your offers, it's a lot of activity, it's a high demand area, it's a high demand property, and you receive a couple offers right out of the gate. I typically now, and this is where it's a little tricky because you don't wanna push it out too far, but I would typically wait until I set a deadline until I've received that first offer. I
So,
wait I wait until so I don't set a deadline. I don't recommend setting a deadline until first offer comes in. When the first offer comes in, depending on how much showing activity I've had, depending on what is normal in that market, I'll talk to the seller and make a recommendation based on what, how when the cutoff will be. Because here's the thing. Here's the tricky thing, right, Jackie? It's you have you have to draw a line in the sand. You can't if you continually move that
mhm,
line, all you'll end up doing is potentially alienating, losing the offers that you
you're
had.
gonna lose the offers. Yep.
And that's the thing is when you do it, and this is the super important part, when you do that, it is super important. You get that offer that comes in, say, Thursday, right? The offer comes in on
Mhm.
Thursday and you get another one Thursday or Friday morning. My feeling, and Jackie, I'll be curious, after I'm done to hear what you have to say about this. But
Yep.
my feeling is that, a Monday morning or a Sunday night deadline is not unreasonable. Being if the house just came on the market, if the house just came on the market and you had offers that came in immediately, um, I wouldn't push it past that because now you're asking that buyer who put an offer in on Thursday. Here in Massachusetts, 48 hours is a typical response time. 48
Okay.
hours on an offer is typical. So that would mean that that offer that came in on Thursday, Friday, Saturday would be typical. Now you're just asking the buyer to wait an extra 24 hours Sunday night. I don't think that that's out of the ordinary. But if you push it further, say, I'm going to wait till Tuesday next week, that buyer on Thursday may very well, and I've seen this happen, take the stance of the seller's playing games. I'm not
Yep.
doing this.
Yeah.
And now you've got nothing. So the thing is when
Exactly.
you make those decisions, you want to obviously you want to try to get as much as open up the opportunity as much as you can. Here's the other thing. How good is that first offer?
That's
If
that's
first
key.
offer that
Yes.
came in is like, meh, I could take it or leave it. Well, then maybe you gamble a little bit more. If that first offer
Yep.
was really, really good, you're gonna close that window down a little bit more. You
Oh,
you wanna protect
absolutely.
you don't your agent's not gonna tell the buyer that,
Don't wanna
but
lose it. No.
you don't wanna lose it. But I think that what a lot of sellers, the conversations that I have with clients is the understanding that there's never gonna be a point where there's no more offers. You could continually push that line out, and more people will come see it. If the house is priced right, there'll be
Mhm.
more offers. But the thing is at a certain period of time, and you don't know when that is, you're gonna start losing people. And
Yeah.
it's dangerous because the longer you wait, there's the potential to get even lower offers. So,
So
it's a tough thing. What are your,
so
uh,
here's a
your
perfect example to that. I'm so glad this question was brought up. So I just closed on a sale, last week. I was
okay,
representing the buyers. They were in a multiple offer situation. It wasn't a lot, but the listing agent, I couldn't believe he told me what the offer was. They got an offer right out of the gate. The first day it was on the market on a Thursday. And the sellers were like, "We wanna wait." And this was 30,000, 35,000 over asking price, okay?
okay.
And my clients were like, "Yeah, we like it, but I don't know if we wanna go that high." I'm like, Listen, that's whatever you wanna do." So they came back and they said, "You know what? We're just gonna go 5 grand over and, see what happens." So we were the mindset, they're gonna take that first offer that's like 35,000 over. They're gonna take it, and if it falls apart, maybe they'll come back to us, right? Oh, no. They set their deadline almost a week after that first offer came in, and the first people backed out, the
Yep.
30,000 over, and my clients got it and only paid 5,000 over asking.
Ouch.
So, yeah. So you were so right about the timing, like, if you get a really good offer, don't push it. Don't push that out because they will walk. They will, because they feel like they're being you're playing games,
Yep.
and my rule of thumb, so as soon as I have 2 written offers in hand, and if they are good, solid offers, I will call that deadline within, like, a day or 2. So say so this is my strategy. I list a home on Thursday, open house on Sunday, and depending on what the seller wants, we'll either begin the showings when the house, goes on MLS, or we wait. All showings will happen at the open house, so we get as many people as possible, right? So as soon as if those offers come in on that weekend, say I get 2 offers after the open house, I'll call it. That's on a Sunday. Say I'll call it for like Tuesday 5 o'clock. If they're good offers. If these are really good offers, I'm not gonna waste time. So that's typically my rule of thumb. That's
I
how I
think yeah, I
that's how
think
I
it makes
roll.
sense. I think it makes sense, and, it's, here's the thing is that, in a perfect world, and what I would say to home sellers watching is, in a perfect world, you could lean on your agent to give you, unbiased guidance
Mhm.
on
Right.
this and kinda help you understand what strategy makes the most sense for you. And ideally, that's the way it works, but as we know, that's not the way it works, which is why we provide this content so that you guys can advocate for yourself
Yes.
in the absence of good guidance. And,
Mhm.
and the thing, on the heels of that, I would say if the agent is not giving you a reason for accepting a certain offer, if you feel like you're being pushed to accept an offer, number 1, tell them that you feel like you're being pushed and that you need to understand.
Mhm.
Number 2, never, never, never accept an offer unless you're 100% ready.
Yep.
At the end of the day, seller's the captain of the ship. If you decide to not accept any offers, that is your decision. Is your decision,
Mhm.
as long as you understand the consequences. Because what we don't
Yes.
want is to have you do that, put the brakes on because you're overwhelmed, you're scared, you're nervous, whatever, you don't understand, and then 2 weeks goes by and the house is still in the market, and now you've lost a lot of money because the
Mhm.
most amount of activity, the most amount of buyer excitement, and the highest offers always come in the first 7 to 10 days. Always.
Absolutely.
A house comes
Always.
to the market.
That's
Always.
so true. The
So
other the other thing, Jen, I wanna add to this, I don't mean to interrupt, but,
no, you're
make
not.
sure your make sure your agent is vetting the buyers and the lenders.
Yes.
You wanna make that is key, and that's listen, I've talked about this a lot, and I know you experienced this during the pandemic, that was the hardest part when I had one listing, I swear to God, we had 20 offers on it, and to go through every contract, read the pre-approval, read the contracts, read the, go over the terms, calling the agents to make sure they're legit, calling the lenders, like, okay, are they, you're sure they're financially
That's the
qualified, all the
agent's
things.
job. That's
Yeah,
the
that's our job. That's a 20% agent.
and that's you know what? And here's the thing: an 80% agent is not going to do that because it is a lot.
It's a lot of
It's
work.
a lot of work. This is what you're
Yeah.
paying us, but this is a lot of work that a lot of agents will skirt because they're going to go on surface value. The
Yes.
highest offer is not always the best offer.
No, it's
The
not.
highest offer is not always the
Yep.
best offer, and I've seen this happen time and time again where a seller will read that offer and be like, "Oh my gosh, they're offering that." And I'll say to them, because as soon as an offer comes in, we're obligated to give it to the seller immediately, even if we're not reviewing them, until a later date. And I always
Yeah.
tell them, "Hey, I'm giving this to you, but hold, don't worry. Don't look into it too
Yeah.
deep because I need to vet it out." And
Mhm.
then sometimes I'll find out that the pre-approval is not legit. They really don't have the money. Oh, wait, they
Mhm.
have a house to sell that they didn't list in the offer. Or
Mhm.
they're looking to rent back, or they have unrealistic expectations on a closing time frame, or they
Right.
want the seller to jump. There's a million different reasons why you may wanna choose an offer that is maybe a slightly lower, but has a lot less resistance to get to the closing table, a lot less, um, potential hurdles and obstacles
Right.
that derail the whole transaction.
Yep.
So it's super, super important. I just wanna get to the chat. Jackie, you got a
Yeah.
question here
Got a
from
question. New luxury
Well,
apartments.
is your profile picture the thing? I think it looks like the
It
thing.
looks like it. All right.
Jackie's
Yes.
the new luxury apartments in Old
Old
Tappan,
Tappan, New Jersey, renting. Now I'm not surprised. I've talked about
7K?
this, 7K a month. I'm not surprised. These luxury apartment buildings are just popping up all over my county where I live. I'm like, "What?" And they're trying to draw in people who are downsizing. It's like, "Are you kidding me? Downsizing, you're spending that 7,000 on rent? Are you kidding me? You can rent a house for that." So, yeah. Yeah.
7,000. You know what I say
Yep.
to that? I say to that,
Well,
7,000 a month.
welcome to Jersey, Jen. This is
See
this
ya.
is
Hey,
this is how
you know
we
what's
live.
cool in New Jersey? The Sopranos. That's what I'm saying about
Yes,
that.
I
Yeah.
know. We love our Sopranos.
Coors Light 2025, 10 minutes, tops. Oh, we must be on the, I think this came
Talking
in
to
talking
like
about
how
responding on the
yeah,
offer.
talking about how fast yeah, exactly. Talking about the, responding to
Um, Janet Bird, Florida market is in for some big changes. Indeed, it is.
yes, it is,
Indeed,
for
it is.
sure.
Um,
Um,
Check, there's a
oh,
ton,
he's bringing this up again.
the near old,
And Ridgewood, Old Tappan. Yeah. Yeah, Ridgewood too. Ridgewood, Upper Saddle River has, a new complex, luxury complex, Old Tappan. Yeah, they're popping up all over the place. It's killing me, killing me.
but if you lowball your asking price, then most likely you would wait for more offers.
Yeah,
If they lowball, yes.
if they
Yeah,
lowball it, yeah, I would
it
wait.
depends if the house is I mean, if the house has been on the market for 30 days, 45 days, and the price wasn't set maybe quite where it should be. I don't know. I think that the market that we're in, Jackie, there is no like lowballing doesn't work anywhere.
No.
You know,
I know.
well,
Nope,
not in
definitely not.
2024. Jackie, why is it in Jersey first time homes are now over a million in 21 counties? Supply and demand, my friend.
Supply and demand, that's
Supply and
exactly it.
demand.
Because people are driving the prices up because there's nothing else to buy, and they're desperate for a house.
You
People
know
are
what?
throwing any amount of money at it, and,
Can we just
that's what it
okay.
is.
Can we just put the brakes on for a second?
Yeah?
I have a heart to heart here, Jackie, and just can you just please come clean? It's really all your fault.
It's my fault. It
You
is.
you are
It
the one
is.
that's driving these prices up. Why could you do that? Why would you do that? That's so selfish of you.
It's all me. You gotta point the finger at somebody, they're gonna point it at me. Well, there
My
you go.
goodness. Supply and demand. Don't move to Jersey.
Yes.
Nothing against you, Jackie. Nothing against you, Jackie. Another important part is how do they plan to finance the purchase?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a lot of money in this country. There's a lot of money. They're not financing all of it. They're not financing.
No.
A lot of it is cash money. They're coming in with a lot of cash,
Mhm. Mhm.
lots of
Yep.
money. Plus, does the prospective buyer have any
Any
contingencies?
contingencies. Yeah, these are good points he's making here, but to go back to that, he's talking about the financing end of it. So if you're going over it's we're talking about appraisal, right? If you're going over 35,000 over asking price and that appraisal comes under, are they gonna waive the appraisal and cover that gap, right? We're still seeing a lot of that here. And people
Oh, yeah,
and sellers are actually asking for that. If you're submitting an offer over ask, they want you to waive the appraisal.
I would. I
Well,
would if I had if I was a
yeah,
seller and, to
yeah,
have, you know,
yep,
because that's the other thing too is, on the heels of that, of not accepting an offer just because it's the highest price, I've recently had situations where, a ridiculously high offer came in on a 3.5% down payment buyer. Okay. I knew it
oh.
wasn't going to appraise. The buyer's agent didn't know what the heck she was doing. "Oh, it'll be fine," she said. "It'll be fine." I said, "Do you have comps to support? Because my comps don't support that number." "Oh,
Right.
it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine." Data. See ya.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
I told the
Like,
seller,
you're crazy.
"This
Yeah.
is not real money. It's
I
not
know,
real money because the
I know.
buyer's not standing behind it." We can stand behind the list price. I
Yep.
can justify the list price. Anything over the list price is not gotta be on the buyer's responsibility to cover, because otherwise it's not
Mhm.
real. It's not
Right.
real unless they're willing to waive the appraisal contingency.
Yep.
Anywho, are you
Got
ready
any
for the
more
next one?
questions? You got any
Yes,
more
I do.
questions? Okay.
So another one that came in on that, what not to say to an agent. I love questions like this. Um, why do some homes with agent signs out front are nowhere to be found on Zillow or even the broker's website? On one, it eventually had a sold sign on it, but it took a very long time. It doesn't sound like the agent was doing the seller any service. Oh, Jackie.
Okay. Oh, boy. Oh, Jen.
So, I will say that, when you see a property that is on the market, and Zillow, just to kind of, so that you all understand how the inner workings and how listings are aggregated. In other words, how do they connect it? How does the information flow? You have the multiple listing service, whatever their county, local multiple listing service that they're putting their listings into, and then that flows into all the other websites.
Mhm.
So the
Yep.
agents are not inputting anything into Zillow, and they're not putting it into Red, all the Redfins or Realtor.coms or Homes.com or whatever. Everything is automatic. So if it's not going into Zillow, it is not probably in MLS. It is
Correct.
listed on MLS, which means it's an off market listing.
Mhm.
It could be a pocket listing where the seller, the buyer, the agent holds on to it. It could be, sometimes an off market listing, if a seller legitimately doesn't want to advertise their houses for sale, maybe they have there's a few buyers that are interested in the house, and the seller's like, "Hey, listen, I don't want to sign. I don't want people driving by. I
Mhm.
I want my privacy
Oh,
protected."
yeah.
I That is real. And
Yep.
that and it says, to their point, it sounds like the agent wasn't doing the job for the seller. We can't make assumptions when you're out looking as a buyer. You can't make assumptions that you know what's best for the seller. Now, do agents misrepresent sellers all the time? Yes.
Mhm.
80% of them.
Yeah. Yes, they
Not
do.
maybe not completely misrepresent, but they don't represent them fully, right?
Right.
So
Yep.
that does happen. However, it's so important to understand that just because they're not doing it the way that maybe other sellers have done it, it's not always a misrepresentation, because
Mhm.
it is ultimately up to the seller and what the seller wants. Maybe the seller doesn't want any open houses. Maybe the seller doesn't want the for sale sign. It is
Mhm.
entirely possible, right?
Yeah.
But on the
Yep.
flip side, yeah, if the seller hasn't stipulated that they want special circumstances, then yeah, the agent is not doing the seller any service. What I don't understand, Jackie, is when something like that happens, like the agent makes more money. These unscrupulous agents, they make more money by having more people come in, because the name of the game is bodies. As a
Mhm.
seller, you want as many people to come through that house as possible, because
Exactly.
the more people you have come through, the more energy, the more emotion, it stirs up their emotions, the more
Mhm.
chances of offers, the more offers you have, the higher the price. The higher the price, hello,
Yes.
payday,
Yep.
right? So,
Yep.
um, what are your thoughts?
So so look, I'm thinking of another thing. Why they're not seeing them on Zillow, because I just had this happen to me today. One of my clients texted me screenshots from Zillow. Hey, can we look at these two homes this weekend to Sunday? And I go on MLS, and it's already showing that an offer was accepted on both homes. They're in attorney review.
Okay.
Okay, so it's still showing up on Zillow because it's not under contract yet. Once it's under contract, a lot of the times you won't see it on Zillow, or it will say pending, right? But
Yep.
so that's probably why they're not seeing, you're seeing for sale signs in front of a house, but it's not showing up in Zillow, probably because it's already under contract.
Yeah, that's
That's
a good
probably
point.
why.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. Maybe it came on the market and sold for very quickly. Maybe it went
Sold
on.
like in a day, and yeah, and then it's under contract. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Went on, went
Yeah.
off. Yep.
Yep. That's why you won't see it. If it's officially marked under contract, it will not appear on Zillow and Realtor.com and all those sites. So, yeah.
So I'm going to take this opportunity
Mhm.
and you know, I very much my channel community knows that, you know, I will never try to steer someone from doing any particular thing, working with an agent, not working with an agent. I want you guys, my goal is to educate you guys so you can make the
Mhm.
decision for yourself, right? You can figure out what's right for you.
Yep.
However, if you're locked in, if you are able to work with a 20% buyer agent, this is where you save time and money, because the good buyer's agents, the ones you say, I mean, how many times, Jack, have we heard, what's the point of a buyer agent? I can just go find the property myself. What's the point?
Mhm.
I don't need them to open the door and all the things. The
Mm-mm.
reality of it is a good buy, an 80% buyer's agent is useless at that point.
Yep.
But 20% buyer agent is priceless, because they will call you. That house goes on the market. You don't miss that house.
Right.
You don't say, "Oh,
Exactly.
why is it not on, it's on and then off again?" I no, the agent is monitoring it.
Right.
They will reach out to you. They will
That's
reach out
right.
to the seller agent and say, "Hey, this is a hot house. How much time do we have before it's gonna go?"
Right.
And coordinate it and find out what the story is and get all the backstory before you even see the house.
Exactly. That's exactly what I do. I look at I go down to the point of, like, going on Google Maps, looking at the location. If the person's not familiar with the town and the area, and they're like, "Oh, let's look at this." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's on a double yellow and and double yellow road, and you don't wanna be on a
Oh,
busy road,"
a
or
double line, like a fast road, like a
yeah,
speed,
yeah,
yeah.
busy road, yeah, double yellow.
I'm like,
That's how
double yellow, like, double warning?
we double yellow line
Double,
road, right? Where you
oh,
have a coming,
you
yeah.
have to
That's what
explain yourself. Come
That's what
on.
we call it. That's what we
Double,
call it. That's what we
okay.
call it here in Jersey, double yellow. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
you
on a
guys
don't wanna live in a double yellow.
you guys in Jersey, I'm telling you, a little
I
interesting
know, it
way
just
to do things. You
what
get
am I
some
gonna
interesting
do?
things you're doing here.
Yep.
Japan Raven oh 01, thanks for being here. Hi, what are your thoughts on tiny homes? I'm a single person who doesn't need a lot of space, footage, doesn't need a lot of square footage and space. Will there ever be a builder who specializes in tiny home communities? I think they're coming. I think that
Mhm.
best chance of you getting into a tiny home, community though, is going to one of these modular homes that are selling them, as opposed to dealing with a builder. You've got these, prefab modular
Yeah.
homes that are
Yep.
that basically come on the back of a flatbed truck.
Yep.
They're not mobile homes. They're
Right.
they're built homes, but they're all ready to go, so that they're built in the factory, which is way better
Mhm.
than dealing with a builder. But they're coming. It's just, they're a lot of communities are look at them as, ADUs, accessory dwelling units,
Mhm.
and the zoning requirements are different. And then there's the issue of where to put it. If you don't have a community that is already, has this all planned out, laid out, then it's up to you to go find the land and buy the land and maybe lease the land, and that's a major roadblock.
Right.
But I think the demand is there. I mean, we were somebody on your live stream last night, asked that question. They said, they were looking at like a 900, 700.
900 square foot house. Yeah, like, you wanna get
Yeah,
900
and it's
square foot
like,
house. Like, yeah, I
like,
mean, you don't need all that you don't need all that space, right? So
unless you have a partner or spouse or whatnot, and you like, you know, wanna
yeah,
get away.
yep,
You wanna
yep,
get away. You need
yeah.
you
Need a
need,
little
like,
more than 900 square
yeah, a
feet.
little more. But if you're you're
Just a
you're
little.
you're single, like,
Yeah,
hey, less of a house. I think that there's a lot of trends I'm reading, that there's a lot of movement with that. There's a lot of
yep,
trending towards that more, new minimalism, they call it, where
mhm,
it's more focused on not even the necessities, because you can get with technology and just modern living, everything has shrunk, you
mhm,
know? I mean, Jackie,
yep.
I told you about my Ninja toaster oven, which is like, okay, no pun intended, the best thing since sliced bread. Hey, no, but this thing is like, it's like this.
It's massive, right? Those
No,
Ninja they're
it's
huge.
it's 13, it fits a 13 by 13 pan. The thing flips up so that the profile, when it's up against the backsplash, is literally like, it's only like this wide. And
Oh
it's
my
stainless
gosh.
steel. So I had installed under counter lighting,
Yep.
which, uh, after I reached 50, I'm like, I can't see anything. And it's just like a godsend to have that under counter lighting. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like, I can see in the
Yeah,
morning, And so, but I mean, this thing does everything, Jackie.
yeah,
It bakes, it's an air fryer, it's a toaster, it's an
yep,
oven, it's a convection oven. I don't, I'm a single mom. My 22-year-old and 17-year-old are not here all the time.
mhm.
They're out, whatnot. And this is a perfect example why, like, I don't even need an oven. I never use my oven.
That's true.
You move
But
into a smaller home, a tiny home, this is the way technology, this is the way the world's moving,
yep,
because we have this technology. So,
there you go.
I'm
There you
excited.
go.
I wanna see, like, 3D printed homes. I would like to see 3D printed homes in Florida. That's what
Yeah.
I would like to see.
Mm.
Okay? Cement, get rid of the stick
Yep,
built.
that's right.
Been there, done that, ship has sailed, bye-bye.
Yes.
Let's get some cement housing, because let's come on, get up with the times, people.
Yep,
It's like Christmas. It's gonna be hurricane season again next year.
I
Why is
know.
that such a surprise?
I I don't get
Anyway,
it.
um, it just asked, "Do tiny home communities exist?" I haven't remember. Yes, they're in, Midwest.
Yeah, they're out
They're
there.
they're out there. They're not a ton, not yet.
Right,
Custom built
they
or
need to
comes on
come on
wheels. There'll be a
wheels.
mobile home.
Yeah,
Let's see. Leah, welcome. Welcome back. What do you think of coming soon advertising? And if you're for it, how long should you market that way? 1 week, 2 weeks? What are your what are your guidelines in New Jersey on coming soon?
So the guidelines are, I think, so we have multiple MLSs here in Jersey, which is so stupid. Like, can we just have one? The one that I use is just straight New Jersey MLS, and I think you can't have a coming soon. It has to be less than 30 days. But typically, what I see when I see coming soon, it's only for a couple of days. And another MLS that I'm a member of, Garden State, um, I think the same rules apply, but again, it's like, every time I see it coming soon, it's always like maybe within maybe a week, like max. I've never seen a coming soon go like longer than a week. It's always a few days. And I think
Yeah.
that's the best way to do it because you don't
Yep.
wanna drag that out because then once it comes on the market officially, like, say if you do that for 2 weeks, it's like old news, you know,
Yes.
and
Yes.
people forget about it.
Yep.
And it's adding to the days on market on multiple listing, okay? So,
True.
right? So
True.
if you go 7 days coming soon, then you go on day 8, you're live on, it's whatever available for showing, and then it sits there for a while. It's going back to the first day when you set it as a coming soon. So now when people look at it like, "Oh, this has been on the market for 21 days. What's wrong?" You know what I
Right.
mean? But, you have to take out the first 7 days that it was a coming soon. So I don't like doing coming soons because of that reason.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to show that if we're gonna list it, put it out there for the world to see, you know? I don't think it
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see that much of an advantage to it. I really don't. But
Well, I
I
think that the reason being, Jackie, is because if we it's how the method and, the methodology or the process of how people find out about new listings.
Right.
I think that if it took days for that listing information to make its way to a potential buyer, then the coming soon would solve that problem, right?
Mhm.
It would
Mhm.
allow time for that information to get out to the buyers. But because we have such a low inventory, and if you're an active buyer, you're combing the listings multiple times. You're at
Mhm.
lunch, you're on the subway, you're indisposed, you're
Yeah.
looking up, you're on the phone, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
everybody's, so,
Yep.
like, the chances of you missing if you're actively looking, there's no benefit of, like,
Right.
buyers. It's not like you're gonna reach extra buyers,
Mhm.
it certainly is, the whole idea of, oh, somebody might be driving by and decide that they wanna buy it or whatnot. It's like, when is anybody I'll impulse buy a bag of candy for Halloween. I am not
Yeah.
buying a house.
No.
It didn't happen.
No.
Not happening,
No. Yeah,
So,
like, who does that? Who
you
does?
know,
Well, there are people that have done it, I'm sure, but
it's not the norm. Yeah,
not
we
the
do
norm.
coming soon, we have like our MLS, the max is 2 weeks, but here's my the pragmatic part of my brain process. There's a lot that goes into getting a house ready for sale, right?
Yep.
And that's the seller getting, meeting, and they don't always do it months in advance like we would love them to do. But
Mm.
usually it's like, "Okay, I want you to come over, tell me what my house is worth. When do you wanna list it as soon as possible?" Or, "I wanna list it in the next month," or something, that type of thing.
Right.
And so you're going through that process and you've got to take pictures and you've got to have the pictures done. You've got to have the 360 tour done. You got to have the floor plans done. You got to have the
Mhm.
aerial photography done. You got to have the video done. That stuff takes time. And
Yes.
in the meantime, to put it on the coming soon, which I've seen some agents do, you don't have any of that stuff done. So now
Exactly.
you're putting an incomplete listing out on the market.
Mhm.
Don't see the benefit.
And
And I
yeah,
see
the
this all
pictures
the
are
time.
key. Yeah, I see
And it's
that
just
too.
one picture. There's one
Yeah,
picture.
one picture of the exterior, that's it, and, like,
And it's like, "Oh, picture's coming soon."
yeah, I hate
Don't put it on the
I
market.
hate
It's
that.
crazy.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's a personal that's a long-winded answer. I hope
Mhm.
you got your
Alright.
answer though. Yeah, she's like,
It was a
"You
good
you
answer.
answered it already. Just be quiet now." You're
Alright.
very, very
You're
welcome.
very welcome.
You're
So
very welcome.
welcome.
Our pleasure.
Uh-oh.
Let's see. George Kitchen says, "Good evening. Today our appraisal came low, and the agent was so upset. We're using a dual agent. So we don't know how to approach the situation. Can you give me any advice?" Okay, it's a tough situation.
And
This is a
they
tough
said Jen, he
situation.
has a second part, it says they don't have the money to make up the difference. They can't cover the gap.
Oh boy.
You want me to
So
take it?
okay,
What?
so I'm assuming that um okay, so then they must be buying the house. They're not the sellers, right?
Yeah, no, they're buying it.
Okay. And they're buying it.
I'm assuming, yeah, the agent was
So
gonna start
George, can
using
you
it.
clarify? George Kitchen, can you clarify that you're the
Yeah,
buyer?
clarify if you're buying or selling. I mean,
Yes.
either way, Jen, what they can do, I mean, so you gotta go back and talk to your lender, um, to see if if you cover that gap through, adding PMI, okay? They're buying. Okay, they're the buyers.
Okay. Okay.
So, you can ask your lender about, adding PMI to your monthly payment to cover that difference. I've had that happen before where my buyers, I think we underappraised by $30,000 and all they ended up doing was just paying like extra PMI, private mortgage insurance, excuse me, need to explain that. So ask your lender, you got to go to your lender at this point to see what your options are. The other thing you can do is you can renegotiate the price.
I was just gonna say that's the first thing I would do. So the
Yeah,
first thing I
first
would do
thing,
is
yeah, renegotiate. Yes,
and
absolutely.
here's the thing that you need to remember, the dual agent thing is BS. That agent only represents the seller, and
Yes.
they sign a buyer agent contract. I am adamantly opposed to dual agency. Why?
Mhm.
Because one person cannot serve two masters. It is
Right.
impossible. Okay? That's it's just it is virtually impossible for one person to be looking out for the best interest of two opposing parties. You can't do it. So
No.
they are representing first and foremost the sellers. And when you go through that, you just have to have that in mind. And whether it's water under the bridge, it is what it is. You gotta deal with it at this point. But I would go back to that agent and I would withhold your stance if you are able to come up with some money or whatnot. I would maybe hold a little bit of information back, put some pressure on the agent and just say, "Hey, listen, we cannot buy this house at this with the appraisal. Like we don't have the money." The other thing though that and we're not privy to this information, Jackie, is, you know, are you in competition with other offers? Did you beat out other offers? Are there offers
Right.
waiting in the wings that you're gonna
Mhm.
potentially lose the house to? If you
That's
push back
right.
on the seller, if you're the only offer and the other and you marginally beat out the other people are gone, right?
Yep.
You can maybe use that as some leverage. But if there are other offers that are waiting in the wings that you're like, if I don't do something, then I'm cooked.
Yeah.
Um, then you to take into consideration the other opportunity besides going to the seller, pushing back, going to your lender. I think at that point you have to take a step back and you have to ask yourself, do you really want to buy that house? Do you really
Yes.
want to buy that house? Because you have a mortgage contingency. You have a
Mhm.
mortgage contingency that protects your deposit. And because your appraisal came in low, you have the ability to back out of that transaction and get your deposit back.
Yes.
So you really I think that a lot of home buyers, and Jackie, we see this all the time, hear about this all the time. You get caught up because why? You've emotionally moved into the house.
Mhm.
That's why not a dual agent, a good buyer's agent to help you handle the pragmatic side being, you know what? Maybe it's time to walk away and go to another property.
Mhm.
Maybe the universe is telling you shouldn't buy this house. Because on the emotional side, you're like, I have invested all this time. I have spent for home inspection. I have spent for an appraisal. I've like already mentally moved into this house. I can't back out. Well, no, you can.
You can.
And it's gonna
You
hurt and it's gonna be painful, but you need to, I think, pull back. And this is what I would tell my buyers, pull back, take a step back, and really put yourself in a position where pros and cons, like,
Yes.
how much is this house worth? How much does it meet our needs? How much does it fit our financial goals? How much does it fit our family goals? How long am I going to be in the house? Like really take a look at whether this is the house you want to continue with. That's
Good
my
advice.
my piece.
Is that your TED Talk for today?
That's my TED Talk. I have no
I love it.
here we go.
All right.
There we go. If you're
There you
old enough,
go.
you know what that sound means. For
Yep.
those in the group.
Yes.
Let's see. Beth says, I listed my house on October 1st. It took 2 weeks for them to put the sign up.
What? Oh my God. So,
Jackie,
do you?
Jackie, my blood pressure, you know I'm on blood pressure medication. Help me out here. Help me out here.
Yeah. Okay.
The one person came in the first week, nothing since. Other than internet, how are realtors pursuing buyers? Not much happening here.
Where is this person located? That's what I want to know. What market are you in?
What market are you in? So here's the thing. We do not pursue buyers, to clarify. We are marketers.
Mm-hmm.
We are marketers. We're negotiators. We're marketers. We market the property. There's this concept or this thought process with home sellers that we're going to bring the buyers to the table. We're going to find the buyers. We're going to have buyers in our back pocket. That is not what we do. That's not possible. There's no magic door. If a listing agent tells you that, they're BSing you.
Yep.
Our job is to be professional marketers, to know how to market a property because of training, because of experience, more than the home seller. If the agent's not doing that, then the agent's not worth hiring. But so it's knowing what to say in the description. It's knowing what information to put in the description. It's putting the damn sign up in the front yard at a
Oh my
time.
God. So I don't know how your company does it, Jen. So Coldwell Banker, like our in our region, they use an outside company to put the signposts up. And I can't tell you if it's not on the day, like I've had it happen where the signpost didn't show up the day it went on the market. Oh my God.
Yep.
Ballistic.
So
I would go ballistic. You don't do that.
I use a company, and the company is Jen Sylvester Sign Installation Inc.
I wish I could do that. Look at you.
That's because
Why
to
am
me,
I not surprised? I'm not surprised at that.
hey, you know what? You take care of the stuff, then you know you get it done. Done. I'm a little ADHD. I'm a little type A.
Yep.
To the 10th degree. You know this. But it's like I'm there anyways.
Yeah.
Because I do professional photography and I'm there. And so I put the sign in my car.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know. Because because I know I put it exactly where I want based on marketing, based on experience, on exposure. How easy is it going to be for people to see the sign?
Mm-hmm.
How in New England, I got to take into consideration, okay, weather, if I'm in a property that's close to the ocean, you want to have it a little bit protected, all the things. But it in terms of, finding buyers and pursuing, I think a lot of it's going to come down to, there's the typical avenues, right, Jackie? But I think a lot of it is, how are buyers finding homes in your area? You got to meet, you got to cater to where they're at. So if you're in a neighborhood with a lot of young families, well, then probably a lot of them are on social media. So your agent should be active on social media, right? That type of thing. If you're in a neighborhood where they do open houses every weekend, that agent needs to do open houses every weekend, right? You need to basically have a bullhorn to get it out as much as possible. But I think the tried and true is you gotta look like the $1 million listing on all the websites.
Yep.
The photography and the aerial.
Yeah.
And
How's the photography? Yeah, that's the other thing too.
It's got to be professional. It's got to be professional.
Do you see her comment? She goes, she was the one that posted it on local Facebook groups. Really? That's not your job. That's not your job.
Ask for a discount.
Your
You know what there
agent should
should
be
be?
doing that.
There should be penalties, Jackie, built into contracts, like deductions of money for every day the sign doesn't go in the yard.
Mhm.
And this is the other thing, and I've done content on this, on what not to say to an agent, how to spot a lousy agent, all the things. One of the things that I repeat throughout some of those videos is, please, please, please have everything in writing. Everything in
Yes.
writing. If they're gonna
Yes.
do a 360 tour, have that in writing. If it's in the listing contract, or if it's just on a piece of paper that the agent initials and you initial, have it in writing. Because you know what? If you have that in writing and that's a contractually binding agreement,
Yep.
can you go to the listing agent and say, "You know what? I'm canceling my contract. I'm gonna go list with this
She's got
agent."
a s you it's she has a 6-month contract, but you know what? You can cancel it. You
You
go to the
could
broker.
absolutely,
Absolutely can cancel that. You go to the broker and let them know they're not doing what I want them to do, or they're doing a
that's
poor job. You can do
she's
it.
like, "Well, I didn't do it." You know what? Do not, give yourself grace.
Yeah.
Give yourself grace. You know what? It is not your fault. It is not your fault. It is not
No.
your, it is what it is. And all you can do is say, okay, well, now you know next time for sure.
Yep.
But try not to beat yourself up. I'm trying to figure out how they're
How
earning
they're
their
earning their
reduced 2.5%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay. And
Yeah.
and the 6-month contract is baloney. So this is I'm trying to keep my language appropriate.
Mhm.
Um, Here's the thing, Jackie, you and I talk about this all the time. It is not hard. Real estate agents are going to get really ticked off when I say this. It is not hard to cancel a listing contract.
No, it's not.
It is
It's not
not.
hard at all. You
It's a
could like
phone
I said, go
call.
to the broker. You have to go to their broker and say, "I'm not happy, I want out." And it happens all the time. So don't
You
feel
have
like
to
you're
be
stuck.
strong, especially if you know the agent or whatever. You have to be strong. And it might be, okay, now I got to start all over with another agent. Yes. But it might be the best thing you ever did, because if they're dropping the ball on this super medial stuff,
Mhm.
how well are they gonna go to bat with you for you and
Yes.
negotiation? How
That's
when
so
it comes
true. I
to
know.
workers,
Yeah.
okay, okay, but Miss or Miss, Mr. or Mrs. Listing Agent, I have multiple offers. When should I set a deadline?
Mhm.
Oh, I think you should just accept that offer. Oh, wait, because 'cause they're gonna get paid sooner.
Mhm.
I would drop
Yep.
that. I
I'd be
would drop that agent
you're
and
out. You're
start
out.
interviewing. There's a link in the description you can fill out. I can connect you with a 20% agent, but
Yes.
interview 3 agents, and you've already interviewed 1. Now you know what you don't want.
Yes.
It's kinda like getting
Exactly.
a divorce, okay? I'm married
Yeah.
25 years. I'm like, now I know exactly what I don't want in
Yeah.
my next husband. I didn't do enough interviewing, but that's another conversation for another day. These are the life
Oh my god.
lessons. These are the life
Uh,
lessons.
yes. I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Let me see, let me see, let me see. Uh,
Yeah.
let's see. Oh,
She's
an inspection report is even more important for the buyer when using a dual agent. Yes, yes, yes.
Yep.
100%. Um, Michelle Valentine, great information. You're both full of wisdom. I appreciate you saying that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
For sure, for sure. We are here. We legitimately are not, Jackie and I. Hey, Jackie's from Jersey, and I just have no filter. We're not gonna. We can't. I can't. You know what?
We
I
can't
can't.
we don't hold back. We don't hold
I
back.
talked
No.
to. I had a viewer. I don't take many phone calls. I wish I could. I just don't have time. And I
Yep.
made an exception for a viewer, and I talked to her 45 minutes today. And we all have busy schedules and everything else. I didn't get paid. I didn't charge her, but
Right.
really, like, we walk the walk. Like, we really want you guys to
Oh,
you know,
1,000,000%.
protect yourself,
Yep.
and we do wanna help. And I'm a firm
Yes.
believer that if you do the right thing, then, uh, the universe will take care of the rest. Meaning, how am I gonna eat tomorrow? That's what I'm talking
Yes.
about.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
feel free if you wanna make cash donations, feel free. Let me know. I'll let you know I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
Thanks going on. This is my neighbor is going on the market next week. The post is already there waiting for the for sale
Sale
sign.
sign. Yep. And I'm sure that'll be gone in a minute, depending on where they are. But
Oh boy. Of course, I can picture Jen pulling up to a house with a sign and a sledgehammer and the seller being shocked when they see you in front installing a sign. Okay, so I got a story. It's story time. So this was the summer, and it was a hot flipping day. It was like 95, it was like 94 degrees,
ugh.
and we had, I had a closing, and it was my listing, and I always go to the final walkthrough just because I think it's in the best interest of my seller that I
Yeah.
be there, just in case there's, the buyer has an issue, question, whatever, if anything comes up. But while I'm there, what a pet peeve of mine is when a buyer buys a house and the sold sign is still there after they close.
Mhm.
Okay, so what do? They're looking through the house with their agent, so I go out to pull the sign out. So I go down, the edge of the driveway, and I've done a million times, and I pull the sign, and it's a PVC sign with a big metal post, and it goes deep in the ground. So I pull it up and I start dismantling it. I have a Highlander. I start putting the car. As soon as I put one of the pieces of PVC in my car, I kid you not, a million bugs started pouring out of this sign.
Oh.
Now I had,
Oh my
you know,
God. And they got
I
in your
had blood
car? Did they get in your
in my,
car?
yeah. So I have like one of those cargo um, mats in the back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
it's not
Yeah,
carpet.
so do I. Yeah.
And I had a white shirt on and light tan linen pants. Thank God. Thank God, because the bugs were black. And I'm like, but I
Ew.
took that thing and threw it across the road. I threw it down the road. I was like, ah. I was like, and they were like, I thankfully, like I was able to get, I always have, here's a big surprise, I have a tool bag in my car
Oh,
because
yeah, go figure.
I have just about every time I
Did
have
you
something that is needed, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna throw that in my tool bag. So pretty much anything that I ever need, I do have a sledgehammer. I do have tools and screwdrivers and
not
duct tape
surprised.
and the de-icer for the winter. I've batteries, all the things. I have all the stuff. So I have rags because these things I don't want to put these gross signs in my car, so I clean
Yeah.
them, wipe them out. So I threw it on the ground on the road, and I'm like trying to like bang it, and they're just millions of them
Ugh.
pouring out. Yeah,
No,
that
thank
was
you.
not
I would have
fun.
set that sign on fire.
Well, then
Like,
I'm like looking
"Here's
at
how we
myself
solve this."
like on my arms, and it's like
Yeah.
and it's like the sun's blazing, and
Oh,
I'm like 90 degrees, 95, and it's like, 9 AM,
no.
and I'm
Oh god.
sweating, and now I'm like, it was like a horror movie. It was
No,
like a
thank
damn
you.
horror movie, and
No, thank you.
yay, the life of a real estate agent is
Yeah,
so
isn't it great? So glamorous.
glamorous. So,
It's
yeah,
so
so I didn't have a
glamorous.
I was but I don't think the sledgehammer would have helped me with the
With the
thing, but I
bugs?
told
You
my
needed some bug
sellers
spray.
I love this my sellers that, I actually went over a house, 2 weeks ago for brownies in
Oh,
conversation because my
nice.
retirees, I love them so much, and, she was just she was laughing, I was laughing, but they were just the buyers who were so sweet, they
Yeah.
were, like, horrified. I'm like, "Well, you don't have to deal with it." So there you go. That's my story time for today.
Alright.
Um,
Okay.
bike contest. Hey, welcome back. I saw a house I wanted to look at, emailed an agent, told me the house was already under contract, some highest and best, blah, blah, blah. Next day, there was an open house. I need a new agent.
So, just playing devil's advocate here, what I think happened there, it's possible because I see this. I go on to comments, I look on multiple listing and I'll see the comments, it'll say highest and best due, whatever, and you'll see that's okay, it's under contract, it's had multiple offers. But look, sometimes deals fall apart, you know? I
That
mean,
is true, Jackie.
that agent could have seen that. not realizing that it was falling apart, and then the next day it was back on the market. So
Or
I'm just giving, devil's
yeah, no,
advocate
and you
here.
know what? Thank you for that, Jackie, because sometimes we do jump to conclusions, and there's
Yes.
always two sides of a story.
Yep.
The other thing is that it's not uncommon. It's less common, I think, nowadays, but it's
Mhm.
not out of the question for that if there's already been an open house scheduled.
Yep.
The seller, the agent may say, "Hey, listen, do you want me to do this for backup offers?" Maybe they had an offer and the first offer that came through and it was a really good offer. They only had like one offer or two offers.
Mhm.
And they're like, "You know what? It's a great offer, but just in case, you know,
Yep.
here's the third option. Here's another option though that I would offer up, Jackie, is that um because I'm not a fan of open houses, and that's just because of where I live. I
Mhm.
in the Northeast, we don't houses don't sell from open houses. I do not do open houses. I don't think that they're productive to
Mhm.
selling a house. They don't because people already know about them. Okay. The number one way for an agent because this is what I did when I was building my business when I was a new agent. No, I shouldn't say the number one way. One way for an agent to get more buyer business is to do an open house.
Yes,
It
that's how
doesn't
I
benefit
built mine.
us.
Yep.
It doesn't help the seller one iota. Doesn't help the seller one iota, but the listing agent now has the opportunity to cultivate new business for themselves.
Right. So I just wanted to counter that what you're saying. I understand you don't like doing open houses, but for what I have found in the last 4 years in this market, um, to save the seller the aggravation of having to leave their house every time a showing request comes through, I push the open houses like the first, like I said, we list on a Thursday, open house Sunday, and you can start the showings at the open house. This way, they only have to leave the house for a few hours. The sellers leave the house for a few hours. Everybody comes in,
Yep,
sees the house, get as many people, like you said before, you want to get as many people in to see that house, and then the offers will come in. That's that to me in this market, that's been open house has been a huge benefit for that. Just because when you get showing requests after showing and then like, I'm texting the seller, can you do this time? Do we have a request this time? And it's annoying. It's especially if they have a family, if they get young kids, you got to pack the kids up, the dog,
yep,
whatever, and you got to get everybody out of the house. So I find that open houses that it's a positive in that respect where it's actually saving the seller the aggravation of
100%.
having to deal with, all the constant showings. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I 100% agree, and actually that brings up a good point. It's just, at that point, it is a benefit. You're not doing it to sell the house. You're doing it as a courtesy because it's convenient for the seller, and it's gonna depend
Yeah.
on the market. Like, in other words, like, the seller those buyers would still see that house anyways. Even if you didn't do an open
Yeah.
house, the buyers would still schedule appointments, but it would be super inconvenient for the seller. So the seller's not gaining any showings by having the open house, but what it's doing is it's creating more buzz because you're having
Yes.
all the people come in at the same time, which could potentially put more money in their pocket because guess what? If
Mhm.
you're in an open house and there's like 10 other people walking around and you're like, "You know what? We like this house. Maybe we'll like speed up the timeline with making an offer because we don't want
Yeah.
to lose." So
That's
I
exactly
get it.
it. Yep.
Get
So,
it. I get it.
that's my story. I'm
Um,
sticking to it.
yeah, is that your story?
That's my
I
story.
know you're running late on time, Jackie. I have one more question that I needed to get
Yeah.
to. We can do it
Sure.
super quick
Yeah,
just because,
absolutely.
you know, so this one just came in again on what not to say to a selling agent. It says, what can a cash buyer say to be vague about what they are willing to spend before they choose a buyer agent? Agents ask for proof of funds before they want to show you a property. So what they're asking is, okay, one of the things that I always recommend, I recommended in this video, is when you first meet an agent, don't tell them what your max spending is. Don't tell them what you're
Right.
willing to spend your max
Yep.
pre-approval. You keep that close, you keep that to yourself until it's a 20% agent, until you vetted out the agents and you feel that comfort
Mhm.
level and confide in them. So
Yeah.
what do you do? Because I, 100%, most agents will not, get in the car. They don't want to waste their time. They don't want to waste their time with a looky-loo
Right.
that, and whatnot. So, when, as far as what you're willing to spend, if you are going to see a property, because that's the only time that, you say, okay, I'll get you I'll get you proof of funds when we go see a property. You get a proof of funds for the exact amount of the list price.
Mhm.
A proof of funds letter is not hard to get. If you have a financial advisor, you can get a letter from the financial advisor. If you are working with a bank and you don't have a financial advisor, ask the bank. Yes, you have to go into the bank to do this. You ask the
Mhm.
bank, hey, you know what? There is $700,000 in my account. There's $1 million on my account. I'm trying to buy a house. Can you write me a letter saying that I have enough to cover a $500,000 purchase? That's it. Do not take screenshots of your cell phone, of your bank
Mhm.
balance, or any of that nature. But get a proof of funds letter for the exact amount of the list price. Now, if you make an offer over the list price, you get a new pre-approval, a new proof of funds letter.
Mhm.
And sometimes what I advise is maybe you get, when I'm working with a buyer, when you make an offer, you don't necessarily want to give the seller a proof of funds letter that's way more than what you're offering for
Exactly.
obvious
Yeah.
reasons. So
Yep.
you go to the bank and you get multiple. And because you make, maybe you have to make an appointment, maybe not. But you go through all the headache of going there or asking your financial advisor. You say, hey, listen, can you give me up to this number in increments of whatever, 10,000,
Mhm.
20,000. But what are your thoughts, Jackie?
You know what we do here? You're gonna die. People actually, show their bank statements for proof of
Mm,
funds. We don't do the proof of fund letter thing at all. People show their and, of course, we block out the account number, but, yeah, people do. They'll show their bank statements.
such
And
a mistake.
so
Such a
yes,
mistake.
but I know, but it's what people do here, is that this has been the norm for I mean, as long as I've been in the business, but,
Doesn't mean
um
that makes it okay.
no, I know, but look, we're talking Jersey here, come on. Come on, Jen. Jeez.
Ah,
But
oh,
to answer this question, I agree with you. Yeah, you can say, they're gonna ask you, but the thing is we ask you what you're willing to spend so we know what price point to search your home for. You know what I mean? We have you say,
oh,
"Oh, I'm looking up to
absolutely.
500,000." Now I know where, okay, we're gonna look for houses in that price point, right? So
Yep.
you can be vague and like Jen said, start off with saying, "Yeah, I'm looking 500,000, whatever." And then as that relationship builds, you'll be
Yes.
able to you can definitely you build that trust, then you
You
can
just
say,
be
"Yeah,
a
I can afford a
little
million." Yeah.
yeah, just be a little guarded until you get to that point.
Yeah.
The goal is always to find an agent that you can have as your partner, your
Yeah.
advisor, that
Yes.
you can say, "Jackie, you know what? Financially, I'm comfortable with 1,000,000, comfortable with 700,000, but I don't wanna spend that much. I
Mhm.
really only wanna be around 500."
Right.
I had a client call me that's a repeat client I've known for many years, and that's exactly what he told me. He's
Mhm.
like, "This I can do this, but I really don't." "Okay,
Yeah.
this is what we're gonna
Alright.
do." And sometimes you go through and you're like, "I'm not really finding what I'm looking for, 500, let's bump it up another 50 or whatever." But,
Right.
Jackie's not gonna take advantage of you in that regard
No.
because you have that relationship. But until you get to that point, until you feel that, that agent has checked the boxes based on, again, some research. Jackie, you did a video on how to, questions not to say to a buyer
Mhm.
agent, so forth.
Yep.
I think doing some homework on how to hire a buyer agent, is part of this process now. And part of the process should have been always the part of the process.
You listen, here's a perfect example. I sold a house, last year, the end of last year, and we were first looking at my god, they were, like, looking at in the 800 to 850,000 range, and they were striking out because that was a popular price point. I had no idea. The pre-approval said they, when I submitted offers, the pre-approval was for, the list price or whatever whatever their asking offer at price was. I can't even talk. Anyway, so guess what they ended up spending?
What's that?
They ended up spending 1.1 million.
Oh,
So they could afford it. They
yep.
didn't tell me. They didn't tell me right off the bat. It was after the first few offers that we've lost. And they're like, you know what? They knew they could go up higher, and they were like, you know what? We're just going to go for it. And they bought a house for 1.1. Yep.
Yeah,
They
and
could
it's just,
afford
you
it.
know what? Yeah, and
Yep.
you know what? As long as they you do your homework and all the things, then
Yeah. Yep.
that's the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
So, let me just get this off the screen. And here we go. This is what I was looking for. So,
Yay.
hey, who's that?
Who is that? Who is
Who
that
is
chick?
that daily dose of real estate reality?
Yes.
Jackie Baker from New
Thank
Jersey.
you.
So if anybody's looking to buy a property, sell a property in northern New Jersey, Jackie's your gal.
Thank
And
you.
she's got a pretty kicking channel about home buyer
Yeah.
stuff, home buyer education. So
Yes.
check
Good.
her out. Of
Thank
course,
you.
everybody on this channel, like they all know who you are. So it's all old
Oh,
news.
I know.
You're like famous and stuff.
Yeah. Well, we're like you and I become like a package deal lately too. We're just, yeah.
Take the good with the bad, the
We're the
bad with the
yeah.
good,
We're
or
the
something.
we're team. We're team, my
So,
friend.
a dangerous, very dangerous proposition. And if oh gosh, I'm like getting I'm getting a little click happy here. If you need a 20% agent, click the link down in the description. Check it out. Fill out, there'll be a short form. Ask you what kind of agent you need, buyer, seller, or both. And then I will send you another email with a bunch of personalized questions so I can really understand what is important to you before matching you with someone in my preferred pre-vetted referral partner program that I have all, agents all over the country. And then Jackie Baker.
See, I forgot the shameless plug last night. Thanks for bringing this up.
It's all good. So Jackie and I just for giggles, just for fun, because nothing else is going on. So
yeah, we're not busy at all.
No,
let's do a podcast.
We do a podcast, and Jackie
Yeah.
finds crazy Reddit stories, like legitimately, like what the heck, people airing dirty laundry, and she reads them to me live. I've never heard them, and then we have an unfiltered conversation.
Yes.
This is PG. The conversation's unfiltered. So that's on all your podcast networks. Or if you would like to look at our mugs, have at it. It's on the tubes.
Yes.
So, and then just real quick, I would just say that I've also started uploading all of these live streams to a podcast channel as well.
Look at you.
Prefer to listen instead of watching. So there you go. Jackie.
Jen, thanks for having me.
And thank you for everyone in the chat.
Everyone was awesome tonight. Thank you.
God says, my phone going to ring as soon as I hit enter. Negative, my friend. Negative.
No.
There
great.
will be no stalking on this channel.
No,
we don't stalk. I guarantee you that. So, hey, Jackie, thank you so much. Everybody, thanks for joining us for another lively discussion.
Yes, thank you.
Have a great week. Be kind to each other. Look both ways before you cross the street. And have a stellar, fantastic, wonderful week. Be good. We'll see you next Tuesday. See ya.